Welcome to this week's episode of The County Seat. I'm your host, Chad Booth. Today, we are bringing you the program from Snow College. We are in the Lorenzo and Erastus Snow Conference Room in Ephraim, Utah, to talk to you about a new program that Snow College has begun. It is a program with the goal of keeping the youth of the area in the community, not only up to and through their education, but into the employment world as well. If you'll remember, we did a report last year where we talked about the out-migration of youth as being one of the major problems that rural Utah is facing. Well, here with the particulars on this new program is Malia Bascom.
Remember that excitement of finishing high school and the exhilaration of leaving our hometown to go to college and take that next big step in life? But what about when you want to return to your hometown? Or what if you never wanted to leave in the first place? Sometimes the return trip isn't in the cards, depending on what you want to do with your life. It's a concern of many communities in rural Utah.
You hear this in a lot of areas. The most important thing that we export is our children. We'd like them to stay a little bit closer by.
What about the colleges that are a little closer to home? Typically, they serve as a stepping stone to another university or a job outside the area.
We don't train them to stay here. We say, oh, now you can go to Utah State and you can get your bachelor's degree or you can get your master's degree or whatever school. And then they end up finding a job somewhere else. And we don't give them the skills to come back here and stay.
But for Snow College in the small town of Ephraim, Utah, asking some different questions of how the college could better prepare students has led to a whole new outlook.
There was a mismatch between what the college was producing in terms of students with skills and what industry needed. That was the larger issue.
I think I can describe this partly by describing a conversation I had with one of the operations officers at a mine. So we're sitting in his office and I'm asking him, what can the college do that's helpful? And the answer was, well, can you create for us a high-level, very intelligent technician who's got a wide range of skills, and that includes vocational programs and general education programs. That was kind of a revelation to us.
That apparent disconnect between theory and reality has led Snow College to reevaluate how they educate, and as a result, 2 new programs have been developed, one in natural resource management and another in industrial technologies. Both of these programs are tailor-made to prepare students to succeed in industries right here on the college's doorstep. But there is a broader impact on rural Utah beyond providing an education for students. The new programs aim to create opportunity as well.
Students come to college and they assume. They assume if you have a program and it's interesting to them, that they can sign up for it, move through it, graduate, and get a job. There's this assumption of employability because if it's government and they're putting the program together, then obviously I'm going to get a job. And so in some ways, if we have programs that aren't leading people to jobs, we're really doing a disservice.
Snow College, business, industry, and economic development directors from the 6-county region have gotten together to find ways to create change. Rather than wait for those opportunities to appear, they're identifying them, seizing the day, and moving forward.
It's now time to start leading out on those types of things instead of waiting for them to happen. Really what triggered the whole thing is Governor Herbert was here last summer, and during the Q&A session, a person asked him, what can the state do to help us? There's that old mindset coming through in that question, and Governor Herbert answered and responded and said, these are the resources the state has. And then very appropriately, he turned the question around. He says, well, what do you want us to do?
What we're doing is going out to the 6-county region and finding out what fits, who exists in our region, what type of skill sets are needed, and then coming back to the table with their input and defining and creating things that work for everybody in the region and not just for Snow College.
The surrounding communities are getting in on the act too. Local leaders from Sevier, Sanpete, Juab, Millard, Wayne, and Paiute counties have begun meeting to discuss future economic developments and how industries are evolving, and then sharing those ideas with Snow College.
Instead of a top-down approach, this is a bottom-up approach. And having an institution of higher education like Snow College actually be willing to sit down and say, okay, what can we do for you instead of what can you do for us, that's monumental, and we think it's something that's really a game changer here in our local economies and something that's going to help us for the foreseeable future.
The number one issue for any company when they're looking at an area is, can I hire the people that I need with the skills that I need for me to be successful here? And this is concrete, tangible evidence that we have an institution of higher ed that is responding to business and industry needs, to what's here now, and has the ability to respond in the future.
People love it here and they want to stay here. And so we're excited because we're providing that.
As we have been changing the culture at Snow College to be more helpful to the students and more helpful to the businesses, as we've been doing that and talking about it and gathering input, it's really created a fun firestorm of excitement.
That momentum could create future opportunities for students going to school today. The hope is they become part of their hometown's legacy rather than hitting the road and sprouting roots somewhere else. For the county seat, I'm Malia Bascom.
Thank you, Malia. That was an excellent story. I think it sets us up great for a conversation about economic development and its marriage to education and how it is improving life in rural Utah. Stay with us. We'll be right back with a discussion on our topic in just a minute after this commercial break.
The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration. SITLA manages 3.5 million acres in Utah lands with the express purpose of furthering the education of Utah students while promoting local industry, oil and gas, even residential development, all at the same time. Through the careful use of trust lands, we distributed more than $22 million to Utah schools last year. The State of Utah School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, building the state's permanent school fund.
Let's be honest, you don't know much about Beaver County. Well, let me tell you about it. It's the birthplace of outlaw Butch Cassidy and inventor Philo T. Farnsworth. Some of the best skiing in Utah is at Eagle Point. You've got camping, Canyon Breeze Golf Course, Crusher and the Tushers, Beaver Territorial Courthouse, snowmobiling, renewable energy, Pioneer Car Show, Squeaky Cheese, ghost towns to explore, best water in the country, Paiute ATV trails, Old Frisco Kilns, horse racing, hunting, fishing, and it's a good place to live. Beaver County, mountains of fun. I could tell you more, but why don't you come and see it for yourself?
Believe it or not, summer isn't far away, and neither is Juab County. There's no need to travel far to find that perfect family adventure. Boating Yuba Reservoir, exploring Mount Nebo, riding Little Sahara. Save your gas this summer and stay in your own backyard. June 30th, get your blood pumping at the Juab County Extreme Enduro. You've never seen a race like this. Juab County, it'll change your family forever.
It's time you got off the beaten path. It's time you discovered something new. It's time you explored Kane County, Utah. Thousands of miles of trails, shorelines that go on forever, a horizon that compels you forward. Spend some time in Kane County and visit the past, present, and future. Kane County, Utah. It'll be time well spent.